Good tea. Nice house.
Hello, welcome to Plomeek Tea Time, number 22. Today we have ScottyR37,
Ahoy!
and we're going to talk about the 1973 movie Westworld, and also the movie that came after 1976, Futureworld.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, I realized that I need to address the passing of Kevin Conroy, the voice of my favorite Batman from the animated series and many other series. And even though I'm not that much of a comic fan, Batman's always been a big draw for me. So in any particular form. So I'm very sorry for his loss. And right now, if you feel the need to pay your respects, Dalek451 is holding a memorial stream on his channel if you'd like to join him. But if you need a distraction from that, we'll be talking about robots today.
Robots in various time periods who will eventually rise up and kill.
Yeah, great. That's the idea. Westworld was written and directed by Michael Crichton back when science fiction movies were written by science fiction novelists. It's no surprise to see a movie about a robot theme park coming from the guy who also wrote Jurassic Park, and he also wrote the Andromeda Strain.
Mm-hmm.
And it even has the theme of giving guests the thrill of danger, but theme park operators are sure they can keep everybody safe.
Oh, wait until you hear what happens in Futureworld.
It of course it has the overarching theme of the hubris of man to deal with the dangerous external force, thinking that he can control it. Robots or dinosaurs, the result and the lesson is the same.
Yes. The attempt to control, in this case with Westworld, technology, but in Jurassic Park trying to control nature, and the triumph of science and the folly that can go with that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Pleasant Valley Pickers in the chat. He'd like to join us later after he does a few errands.
Hey, PvP.
He's got the link. If anybody has seen Westworld and wants to talk about it and want, just send me a message in the chat and we'll see what we can do. Hello to Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Hey, Gorilla.
He's lurking at work today. And you're in the chat. Repairing a robot.
Yep.
Well spelled.
Well, no, it's fun because it's still 1973, so the time was they were still saying robots.
Yeah, right. And people hadn't started saying the word android for a robot that looks human.
Right.
And Herc130 says hello. Hello, Herc130.
Hey, Herc.
And also JD Lewis is hanging out today on Friday.
Ahoy, JD.
Happy Friday. What could possibly go wrong? Sounds like JD Lewis knows this movie.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
After this, if you're just a little disappointed, sorry, I'm going to go into some gallows humor, but if you're absolutely devastated by the passing of Kevin Conroy, you can always kick back a little bit later and watch some Gallagher. Gallagher was a comedian from the late 70s, early 80s, whose main shtick was smashing things on stage, primarily watermelons. Sadly, he passed away today as well.
Oh, he did.
He did. 76 years old and 66 for Kevin Conroy.
Respect for him too. And
absolutely. Sad day all around.
There are lots of YouTube channels that do that very thing that he pioneered.
Yeah.
Smashing things and recording them in slow motion.
This is true.
Incredible. What a sad day. But hello to Tim the Enchanter. Hi.
And also, don't forget it's Veterans Day in the United States and Remembrance Day in Canada. Pay your respects to those who fell for our freedom.
Yes, thank you. Happy Veterans Day to everybody who served, giving us the freedom to enjoy
Westworld
on a Friday on YouTube.
Exactly. But just briefly, before we get into Westworld, who is your favorite Batman, Jill?
The animated series Batman, I figured.
There you
go. So there you go. Kevin Conroy, apparently. Live action would be Michael Keaton.
Yay! This is why we're friends.
Yeah. And Tim the Enchanter loves Gallagher.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah. Great.
I only remember vaguely. I think that in my early youth of exploring comedy, I think I picked up a Gallagher tape from the local video flicks. So, yeah.
Yeah. And Herc 130 says 24 years Air Force flying C-130 Hercules cargo aircraft. Hence the
Wow.
name Herc 130. Wow. Thank you for your service, Herc 130. And happy Veterans Day.
That's incredible. Herc, there's a movie called Air America from the early 90s with Mel Gibson and Robert Downey Jr. If you're a fly boy, I think it's a movie that you might enjoy. Ra's al Ghul. What about Ra's al Ghul, or is it Ra's al Ghul?
I'm so glad that you read that comment. I did not know how to read it. I'm grateful for your presence.
Ra's al Ghul was, well, in the movie at least, he was the head of the League of Shadows. Anyway.
Okay.
Liam Neeson's still alive, everybody. Count your lucky stars.
I'm glad for that.
Yes.
I don't think I can handle any more today.
Although, I don't know. Bad things are supposed to happen in threes, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'll let you know. You know.
I'm sure someone in the chat will let me know in that case.
Yes.
Well, on that note, I guess I'll talk about the production of this movie. So,
yeah, please.
It was released first on August 17th and then later again, I think in October of 1973. And Michael Crichton had a really hard time getting anyone to make it. Everybody said no. Only MGM would do it, and only for $1.2 million. And MGM had like a bad reputation at that time. It would change scripts, skimp on production, and recasting. But Michael had no other choice. And because of these kinds of things that MGM did, there were some scenes that he had to cut.
I read about these scenes, and see, I did a little bit of cursory research, and apparently it was pacing as well. Was he forced to cut some scenes, or was it his choice as director?
I think it was his choice because the scenes he wanted to make didn't look great because of the limitations he was put under, so he cut them to make the movie better.
Okay.
And welcome, Eugene Bird. Great to see you here. How's your Friday going?
Master Sergeant
Eugene Bird reports as ordered, man. Thank you. Thank you for being here. J.D. Lewis says in the animated series, Russ was voiced by David Warner.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Okay, I just haven't gotten to that episode yet. I've watched, I don't know, about half of the series. Maybe not even half. I started watching the animated series recently. So I'll get there. Yes.
Is today the day? Is this an in memoriam Blu-ray box set of the animated series of Batman? Do I get to go shopping on your stream again?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Let's find out. Continue, please.
Yeah, okay. Tim the Enchanter said, in Winnipeg, we had 10 centimeters of snow overnight. Oh, wow. Okay, so the snow season is here, everybody. Well, for some people, it never snows here. It snowed here in 2004 and 2017. And in 2021, our city turned into a popsicle, but it didn't snow.
Wow. I still haven't seen snow yet, and I'm near Toronto. So, although I did hear my first Christmas carol. Luckily, it was after 11 o'clock this morning, so it wasn't too egregious.
I'm still not feeling Christmassy. I don't understand.
No, me either.
And Herc 130 says Canadian Spider-Man is in his element now. Yes, absolutely. So this movie ended up making $10 million in the United States, and Michael got the idea for this movie when he saw how the machines were helping astronauts. Also combined with some animatronics he saw at Disneyland, so those were his inspirations for it. But when he conceived of Westworld, he couldn't see it as a novel, but only as a movie.
Well, and from the tale of the making of Westworld, he was inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean, and even references it in Jurassic Park. I think it was Dr. Malcolm says, yeah, but when the Pirates of the Caribbean break down, they don't eat the tourists.
Mm-hmm. It's true. They don't do that. Oh, and only 3 days ago it was 77 in New York.
Oh yeah, JD, same deal here. I think on Sunday, 5 days ago, it was around there here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm. And so Eugene Bird says, I was stationed at Kessler, AFB, Mississippi, and at times augmented the 403 Reserve Wing, the C-130 Hurricane Hunters. Admiration for you and mesmerizing at Anti-Derivative Jill. So humble. Well, I'd say that about you. That sounds really amazing.
Don't worry, I'll be in the back seat, everybody. I'll see you guys later.
In the back seat.
Yeah, you guys talk about how awesome you are, and I'll just sit here and make poop jokes.
No.
Oh, come on, the poop jokes are the best.
Well, anyone who can fly a plane is impressed.
Absolutely. For sure. And Herc, I'm glad that you saw Air America. It's one of my favorites. I just got it on Blu-ray a little while ago. I've been posting things. I posted a quote that Jill loathes. It's great.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I'll look at that later.
No, you saw it already. There's the stupidest line you'd heard in a movie. No point in giving up a good theory.
Oh,
just
that's
because
right.
It isn't true.
Yeah, yes. That's right. I kind of do. I don't like that.
No, I understand. I think it's charming and cute, but whatever.
Cute is a word.
Cute is a word.
Hello. Hey, it's so
Spidey.
Cool to see you. Hello, Canadian Spider-Man. Good to see you too. And Tim the Enchanter says, I can fly a paper airplane.
There we go. Now I have a job. I'll fold it for you. You fly it.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
It's a plan. I'll provide a paper clip. Does that help?
I think it does. I actually think it does. I'm no paper airplane engineer, but I think it does assist.
And Canadian Spider-Man says, I hate the snow. I'm over snowboarding. Bring on the beaches and the snorkels.
Agreed.
Well, and winter hasn't even begun. Canadian Spider-Man's already planning for the summer. Herc 130 says, hey, say his name 3 times and here he is.
He is.
Yeah, that's pretty great. But this movie actually threw me off for a minute. I was wondering, it felt so weird that it started this way. I thought, hey, is this whole movie going to be in this aspect ratio?
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like, here's a travel agency advertisement to start your movie off. So I wasn't expecting that.
And so until we really get to Richard Benjamin and James Brolin and Yul Brynner, obviously, the acting is fairly television.
Yeah, I didn't even feel like I was watching a movie.
Right. So maybe that was the intent.
Maybe. Well, here, definitely. Because it's the quality of a travel agency advertisement video.
Mm-hmm.
And it achieves that. And here are the adults talking about how much fun they're having at Westworld and making it seem like a big fun game.
Well, it is. Everything works.
Mm-hmm.
They got out.
Yeah, right. They got out and they had fun, and he looks like, he's trying to portray a kid who just had the best time, like at Disney World.
Yes.
And this lady had a fun time at Roman World.
Yes. She's obviously post-coital.
Yes, exactly. What? She said something. She said she left with a glowy feeling.
A euphoric glow. What did you like best about Roman World? Why, the men, of course.
That's it. That's what she said. This older man who was a sheriff for a couple of weeks, you know, played up the reality of the situation, of how he felt it was real while he was there.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, because we're going to be going through some Star Trek actors as we run through this movie, this guy, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, correct me in the chat, this guy is the freighter pilot who brings the lady Klingon to Cruise in Star Trek 3.
Oh, really?
I think
Star Trek 3.
The Search for Spock.
Well, yes, I know what Star Trek. But
why do I correct?
But who? But I don't know who this is. That's why I sound confused. Like, who is this?
No, remember when on the freighter, and then there's the lady Klingon, and it's like, when do we get our payment?
Oh, okay.
You'll receive it shortly, Captain.
Great.
And then they blow up the ship.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And everybody, is it worth $1,000 a day? So $1,000 in 1973.
Yes.
And I didn't look it up, but now
I did.
You did. What's $1,000 in today's money?
$6,500.
$6,500 a day,
right,
for a vacation.
Still cheaper than Galaxy's Edge. But no one died at Galaxy's Edge, so that wasn't a direct comparison.
Just spirits.
Yes.
So Scogli is here. Hi, Scogli. He's got some cheers. And Canadian Spider-Man says, I'm leaving for Mexico for 6 months next week. 6 months. Wow, that's quite the vacation.
I wish I could winter places.
It's incredible. I hope you do some travel videos for that trip.
Absolutely.
And be safe.
Actually, that means, Jill, that puts Canadian Spider-Man geographically far closer to you than anyone else.
Yeah. And Herc130 says, one word, Yul Brynner. Yeah, definitely. He doesn't seem to be too much in the movie, but then when he is in the movie, he is the movie.
Yeah.
JD Lewis says, movies were paced much slower way back then. And Herc130 says, it did have a very made-for-TV look to it. Production costs had to be shifted to special effects and the use of already existing movie sets. And most sci-fi movies of the 70s had stiff acting.
Well, and it seems like it's a... well, we've been going through the original series, and you know how when we get to an episode where they go to a back lot or they reuse customers or plots, like, remember when they go to the Roman planet? We'll do a special on you, Flavius. That's just because they had extra Roman stuff kicking around. Or they go to Spectre of the Gun. It's just because they had a bunch of extra Western stuff a lot. The episode that we just watched, Miri,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if parts of this was actually filmed on the Miri set.
Yeah. Yeah, so they used whatever MGM had laying around because they didn't have any money. They probably had to use most of it just for the actors.
Well, and there are, if not big now, if not memorable names now, certainly they were big at the time.
And yeah, Michael Crichton wrote it and directed it.
I love that shot.
Yeah.
I just find that super stylish with seeing the reflection of the trajectory of the hovercraft. And here we go. We've got your jock and your nerd.
Yeah, he's Peter's asking about if they're using real guns, and John is telling him all about it. Of course, Peter's really excited because it's his first time going to Westworld. And Peter, who's on the right, is played by Richard Benjamin.
Yes.
And Benjamin had always wanted to be in a Western, so he lied about knowing how to ride a horse. And he learned very quickly.
I was curious about that because during the horse chase, he looks like he knows exactly what he's doing.
Right? Yeah, no, I couldn't tell at all that he was a beginner. And the one who's been to Westworld before is John Blaine. That rhymes with something.
What's that?
John Wayne.
John Wayne, John Blaine. That's a good. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
And he's played by James Brolin.
This is Thanos' dad.
And then the passengers are using headphones to listen to an orientation. But I guess this is the pilot with the eyes, the glasses.
Yes.
And we get a cut to the control room. And this is the orientation where the passengers learn about what each world is like. Westworld, medieval world, Roman world. No, this is the Roman world.
That is Roman world, yes.
It's a swimming pool.
Well, and and I guess that's. I don't know where it is geographically. It happens in. They don't use anyway.
The Mojave. I think it's Mojave Desert.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's the 70s, so blinking lights mean computer.
Yeah, blinking lights and the reels and everything. Mm-hmm.
I just like the knowing glance, the look over at Peter. John is like, "Oh, you're in for a treat," and for a while.
For a while, they are, and John has been through this and had a good time and went home safely the first time, so he thinks everything is just fine. And Edge of Time. Hello, Edge of Time. Edge of Time says, fun fact, horses are composed of 70% poop. This sounds like coming from someone who knows a lot about horses and taking care of them.
I don't know if that's accurate.
Probably not, but I feel like it's a commentary on someone who does know a lot about horses and how much poop they produce.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the horses when we get to the horses, because now I have so many questions about the percentage of poop.
Well, we're made of 80% water, something like that. Or
right.
Mostly water.
Ugly bags of mostly water.
Yeah. And this is the only time we really get to see the hovercraft landing. Apparently Michael wanted a lot of hovercrafts and stuff, but he didn't get that.
Well, but still, like, I think for the 70s and well, actually, I think the movie is supposed to take place in 1983. Okay,
so it's a near future.
From the time that it was made, yes. This is the distant future of 10 years from now, 1983.
The distant future of 1980.
Yes.
1980.
J.D. Lewis says, Star Trek's a piece of the action, reused Desilu's The Untouchables set. That makes sense. And that's what I mean. $1.5 million, biggest hit for MGM in 1973. And I think that the reusing of available sets and props and costumes probably had a lot to do with that tight budget.
Yeah.
J.D. Lewis says the computers look like Irwin Allen era leftovers. True. And this would have been smack dab in the era of the disaster movie, too. It would still succeed for quite a while. Tim the Enchanter says, an example of reused sets, the sets from Elizabeth Taylor's Cleopatra were used in the British comedy Carry On Cleo. I have never seen a Carry On movie, I have to admit. For anyone who doesn't know, the Carry On movies were a series of bawdy comedies from England, from Britain, in the 1960s.
Thank you. So Peter is asking if the woman who just asked for their name was a robot, and John says, yeah, probably. And And
Yeah.
under the, I liked how they had intercom explaining everything, saying that you can do whatever you want. Don't worry, you're not going to die. There are no rules.
Oh, when they introduce Roman world, they expressly say indulge every one of your sensual pleasures.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And John gives Peter a clue. They haven't perfected the hands of the robots, so you can tell them from humans based on if you look on their hands. They have these little. I guess we'll see in a little bit. From in the hotel is the first time we get to see it.
So this is kind of the fun montage that you get as everybody suits up and gets the thing. I think it was Peter on the hovercraft who's saying, "Did you get the holster with the strings around your leg? Does that make it better for quick draw?" And so everybody's getting the stuff that they want.
But John got the ones without the strings.
Right. Yeah. But also, he's a terrible shot.
And so the men play dress up and they choose guns.
Guns and boots and shirts. Hey, Mega Cropper.
Oh, hello, Mega Cropper. He says, I only remember Yul Bremmer gifting his M7 character, and Herc 130 has to go on to listen mode. But Scotty's poop jokes are legit.
Thanks, Herc. And Mega Cropper, he definitely was. Yul Bremmer being in this movie, he had suffered some financial troubles. And there was a lack of work coming in. They asked him to be in it to basically riff on his Magnificent Seven character. He wears the same costume and has the same 6-shooter mannerisms when he holsters and fires. I did it for $75,000, which I did look it up, but I can't remember the number. I want to say it was like $250,000. It would be $250,000 today.
That was very kind to him. Mega Cropper says, have we discussed? No, we didn't. And I don't want to discuss.
Did he find out that Kevin Conroy passed away or something?
Yeah, he was a huge Batman fan.
Huge Batman fan.
Brokenhearted.
Yes. See, look how happy Peter is.
Yeah.
And again, same look. John is looking at him the exact same way as he was in the plane, and it's like, you're adorable. It's like taking a little brother out to lose his V card or something. It's crazy.
Yes, and I like it. I like the look of the control room. And this is where we see that they control the stagecoach just as accurately as they do the ships that the passengers flew in on.
Look at all those data banks.
Mm-hmm.
Is it data banks or data banks?
Either is fine.
Okay. And this is the first introduction to Westworld. And this movie does a really good job about sort of developing the feel of the world and the false sense of security. Everybody's happy. Everybody's doing whatever they want. It is kind of dark that they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It really is. It plays into the concept of how respectful should we be of a machine that we've constructed to look like us.
Yes. Oh, and speaking of guys from Star Trek, this guy was in Spectre of the Gun. And when Kirk goes and tries to, I think he's the bartender in Spectre of the Gun, and Kirk is trying to explain, do I look like Ike Clanton? And it's like, well, you do. I heard you've been telling this story all over town. The guy on the left, the old man.
Yes, I got. That's great.
Oh, no, I was just pointing out to Edge of Time. He was asking, which one?
Right, and he's also, in this movie, he's one of the robots. And you can tell a robot is a robot because the little lines on their hands are thick. And
right. Well, Westworld robots don't have fingerprints. And so I'm guessing the palms of their hands would be a little bit rubbery.
Mm-hmm. And so we see that as they tip him.
Hey, Euler Greg in the chat.
Hello in the chat to Euler Greg. He says it's a great movie, and I agree. It's a really, really great movie.
Oh, we're not saving reviews till the end? Fine.
Well,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
huh? Okay, so sure.
But even the authenticity of the water basin, it says it was the jug was made in 1873 or 1874, and this takes place in 1880. Old West is what the authenticity of their location to be within the confines of Westworld. And ladies and gentlemen, Dick Van Patten. A bustling Western town. Oh, this is cute too.
Yeah, he tries to order a martini.
Yeah.
But his friend corrects him.
It is in the funniest way.
Yeah. Instead, he orders whiskey. He needs to order whiskey. That's the idea.
What do you have? Whiskey. What do you have? I'd like a dry vodka martini on the rocks with just a twist of lemon, please. And then he looks back over to John. He'll have whiskey.
Yeah, he's not from around here.
Yeah. Well, and also Peter, yeah, he's not from around here. But Peter is like, it's not very comfortable. And John's all about it. And he's like, but that's the way it was. It's an authentic amusement park. You wanted to play West? Let's play West. Speaking of West, Yul Brynner does a shoulder punch, makes Peter drop his booze all over his chin and chest.
And then he says somebody needs to give him a bib. And somebody needs to give Peter a bib for spilling his drink.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, John's egging on Peter, being like, go get him.
Go kill him.
You got to kill him. That's how it worked in the Old West.
Yes. I know, right? So if he says something mean, just kill him.
Oh, and absolutely. Euler Greg in the chat says, Yule makes an awesome entrance and it changes the feel of the movie immediately. As soon as the bad guy shows up, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
But also, it does change the mood of the movie immediately because, first of all, there's graphic violence. It's one of those ones with the squibs and the squirting bloods. And, we just killed Yul Brynner. So the bad guy's dead. Great. Everybody, we won. Roll credits.
Yeah, that's one of the draws to Westworld is that you get to kill robots that bleed.
Apparently. But again, it's feeding on the baser instincts of sex and violence as your vacation. Just play dress up and it's all okay.
Right. They're not real, so it's okay.
Right.
I really don't believe that, but that's what science fiction is about.
Yes. Makes you ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they have a pamphlet for Yul Brynner, and he is the Brimstone Kid. That's the correlation that I got.
I don't know what that was. I just wanted to look on the other side and start reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't. So even though they're real guns, Peter here is worried. How does this not hurt us? And so apparently they don't work in the direction of organic life because they have heat sensors.
Right.
But do they explain later on how these heat sensors stop working, or should I wait for that point to ask that question?
Well, no. Are you talking about? Well, yeah. We'll wait till then because then if I ask, it's just going to be spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
To anybody who hasn't seen this movie from 1973, please check it out. I would recommend it. But we are going to be spoiling the movie throughout.
So he says, how do I know that it's safe? So he says, try it. So he tries it and he tries to shoot John, but of course the gun won't work on him.
And this is where we finally get to see the backstage.
Yeah, the control room.
Well, the control room with the working operations of what's going on concurrently.
Mm-hmm. Right. The programming and the coordination of all the robots and everything that is supposed to make everybody have fun. JD Lewis says, continuity contradiction. Early in the film, Yul Brynner is seen drinking scotch, yet later in the film, an android girl accidentally short circuits when she drinks water. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was wondering if maybe there was just like some kind of malfunction with her and she knew at that point that she couldn't have water, or maybe she was never meant to have water. Maybe she's like a different model who was just meant to be the prisoner that was held up there for some reason.
Well, and also it would have to be part of the character of the gunslinger too. Like either he's programmed to, he's a higher model, he switches something so that instead of his voice box or receptors or whatever, however these robots work, just shifts something in his esophagus and it goes the proper way. Who knows how sophisticated these things are?
Right. I wouldn't have minded a bit of a explanation on that, how the models were different. But this movie does a lot more showing than telling, which
this is
fun.
true.
Arlie Gregg says he's wearing the same outfit from the Magnificent Seven.
True story.
And different models, JD the gunslinger would have been able to drink. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we just said. Hey, right. Arlie Gregg, great minds.
I swear, I'm not reading ahead in the chat.
I didn't either. Edit Time says you win a no prize. Yay.
That's fine. Which one of us? Does everybody get a no prize? I think everybody gets a no prize.
Mm-hmm.
Mega Cropper says, I keep expecting Steve McQueen to burst in and save the day. Absolutely. James Coburn shows up.
And the vacationers have a dinner at the hotel, and everybody wants to know who Miss Carey is. But the hostess doesn't want to talk about her.
No. She's a filthy trollop. There she is.
Yeah, and she's Majel Barrett from Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry's wife, and also number 1, Nurse Chapel, and Loxana, and the Enterprise computer.
And Maress?
And, oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I did forget. Wait a minute. Yeah, I forgot about Maress. And a host of voices on the Star Trek animated series. I'm sure.
Agreed. But she's got a brief, I wouldn't even, she's a small part. I wouldn't call it a cameo because usually a cameo would be a featured performer, but it was nice to see her show up.
Me too. I mean, I agree that it was nice to see her. I definitely wasn't expecting it. I was surprised.
It's been a while since I've seen this, and I'm glad I rewatched it just because there were things that I had forgotten about. Majel Barrett being one of them, yeah. Pop Culture Curator is in the chat.
Hello, Pop Culture Curator.
We were just talking about you.
Or
your show on Monday nights.
That's right. We were talking about the animated series for a second. And yes, and Pop Culture Curator has an animated series review show every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Time. And I also, Pop Culture Curator, wanted to thank you for a tip that you left me on one of the gaming streams I had. So thank you for that. That was super cool, and I completely spaced on seeing it. And he is driving and listening.
Ahoy! Keep your hands at 10 and 2. Both eyes on the road.
So John and Peter head to the saloon with Miss Carey, who introduces them to Arlette and Cindy.
Arlette's from Paris.
Yes, Arlette's from Paris and is played by Linda Scott, and Cindy is played by Sharon Winters. And while they're going upstairs, a bank robbery starts. And Peter kind of wants to join in on it, but John says this is better.
Uh-huh.
But these were some of those scenes that I mentioned earlier that they had to cut. He actually did want to film some of the bank robbery that we didn't get to see.
Well, and it was, again, I think it was a world building decision, and then there was a violence decision a little bit later. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Now, I've only seen a few episodes of the new TV show, like a handful of the first season, a couple from season 2, and then it just sort of fell off my radar.
Yeah, I saw season 1 and then dropped off.
Right.
Just a couple of episodes in season 2. It just wasn't the same as season 1.
Right.
So.
But these robots are not as sophisticated as your TV show robots.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like I don't know how to say this properly, because this would be an accurate, or not an accurate, but sort of the Westworld's version of an Old West call girl.
Yes.
Very mechanical, not very romantic. I don't understand.
Not at all.
If I were in Westworld, I'd be like, this is not the good part. We should be out doing the bank robbery.
Yeah, because she won't respond. Peter's trying to speak with her, trying to say he's never been with
right,
this type of lady, but she won't say anything until she gets into the bed.
Right. And all she says is why.
But she doesn't really mean it. She's just there for that.
Yeah, she's a programmable sex doll.
Yep.
Hence crazy. All right. Sensors went off, lights lit up.
Yep.
Anyway, everybody's euphoric the next morning.
Right.
Or I guess that's still this evening. That is this night. So.
Well, Arlette's eyes went funny like that, just like the gunslingers did earlier.
Well, and as it fulfilled its programming, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he said, this place is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the robots for the day need to be cleaned up. So it's cleanup time.
And I'm assuming that only happened because there was the bank robbery earlier. I don't think that they just leave the bodies all day.
Well, yeah, no, this is definitely from the bank robbery.
Well, and also, here's a question about the operation of the park. So they say when you get there, the old guy at the beginning said, dinner's at 7, breakfast is at 6:30, you get lunch on your own. I'm wondering if there is an actual functional curfew in the park so that they have an opportunity to do this.
You know, maybe they do, like a lights out kind of thing.
Yeah, we have to shut the park at 10 o'clock during the week, and on your first day until we close at 1, and on your last day we close at 1.
Yeah, but I don't see a lot of workers, you know, a lot of employees kind of policing that. Maybe people aren't required to stay in, but
maybe I'm reaching.
Encouraged to.
Maybe I'm just building more world than is actually there.
Mm-hmm. It kind of makes me want to read the screenplay. But
that'd be interesting.
I don't know. I didn't find it, so I didn't read it. Euler Greg in the Pot says the future has robot women in flying cars, according to early 70s predictions.
Yep.
Good point. There's probably a curfew. And then all of the robots that are in disrepair or need maintenance go to, I guess, some kind of robot hospital or repair room.
Subterranean engineering for robot repair.
There you go. That's better. I like that better. Subterranean engineering for robot repair. Very good. And where they repair the robots who died that day. If it's not an easy repair, they talk about just replacing the entire unit.
Fixing a sensor or having to enter, or what do they call? Is it the central core? The central processor?
Oh, yeah.
I forget what it was called.
Well, for a computer, it's the CPU, the central processing unit.
Right. Wait, let me see. I think you actually sent me a message and you were like, what is that? Hang on. Let's see.
It did.
No, keep going.
So another robot has trouble with her balance servo, and then another one has a central malfunction.
That's what it was.
Yes. And so we go into the engineers meeting where they're discussing the rate of malfunctions of the robots. And at first they didn't have too much malfunctions, just 0.3 every day. But 6 months ago, or 6 weeks ago, I forget, months or weeks, Roman world's breakdowns doubled. And so they're getting more and more breakdowns, more malfunctions are starting to occur. And just fixing little things like humidity and environmental controls aren't really helping that much. And they're suspecting that the robots have some kind of disease, since they're almost as complex as organic life. And I would say this is a reference to viruses, computer viruses, but did they even have computer viruses in 1973? Is something I'm not sure of. So, because if
I don't know. I would say that malicious software would probably have been invented at a point where you could transmit between computers. Otherwise, you'd have to install the reel-to-reel or the punch cards, right?
Right.
You'd have to physically input it into the
infecting
computer.
computers was a lot more difficult then.
Exactly, but based on the fact that the robots are on a central computer system, if there's one error in one portion of the computer, then it would be a cascade failure that would affect all of the automatons under that computer's control, correct?
Correct. I think that's right. And so this is the kind of futurism that this predicts, that having all of these robots on that central network is something that could cause a disease that could spread throughout, just like you said. It's a way that this movie stumbles into something that will become a reality.
Well, you must be giddy as a schoolgirl. This is like futurism.
Yes.
This is like futurism in science for you, and especially up your wheelhouse.
Right. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my it's one of my favorite things. So I wasn't expecting just, robots are going to kill you movie to actually have some really cool science fiction stuff. But it makes sense because the author is a real science fiction novelist. So why can't more science fiction novelists be making movies and TV today?
They gave him $1.5 million on the budget. They basically said no to him everywhere in Hollywood, and they gave him as little money as possible.
And look what he did.
I know, but that's why science fiction authors don't do it, because it's too hard.
Yeah, no, they're not appreciated. They should be. I'd give them everything if I could. Just to get more of this.
I'm going to have to look up Michael Crichton here. You keep going. Talk about your computers, lady.
I will. How did you know?
I had a feeling.
So even further, the computers may have designed some of them. So also in this meeting, they're talking about how some of the computers have designed themselves. So these engineers don't know exactly how they work. And that kind of sounds like a bad idea. If you're an engineer, you should know how your system works. But this is a machine creating more machines. And that's a cool science fiction concept, which I do wish the movie explored a little further, because it's really neat to think about, I'm a robot and I'm gonna create some more robots. And I like it. It adds to the element of fright to the movie, because the human engineers can then be left out of the loop of what's going on with the programming of the machines.
Mm-hmm.
And here in the chat, Scogli says, the Creeper program, often regarded as the first virus, was created in 1971 by Bob Thomas of BBN. Creeper was actually designed as a security test to see if a self-replicating program was possible.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That's super fascinating. And also, I did want to thank Edge of Time for providing the acronym for Subterranean Engineering Robot Repair. Thank you. SERR.
Oh, yes. Yes, I like that too. And Edge of Time says both movies were made into novels. Or the Greg says it implied an independent error affecting more units. A rebellion against programming.
And again, I don't know if
Mhm.
that's so much I don't know if that's an inference after we've watched the show. Because I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's baked in. Maybe I'm being obtuse. This seems just like scientists trying to control something and that thing breaks down. And I'm also saying that based on the history of Michael Crichton. So independently, there could be a robot revolution, sure.
Artificial life finds a way.
Nice.
Scogli says it was sort of. With each new hard drive infected, Creeper would try to remove itself from the previous host. Creeper had no malicious intent and only displayed a simple message.
You know they want you to say it. They don't want me to say it.
I'm the Creeper. Catch me if you can.
You didn't say the magic word.
Edge of Time says robots making robots. Dogs and cats living together. Pandemonium.
Mass hysteria. Oh, Mega Cropper.
It's so great to have you here, Mega Cropper.
He's still alive, though, isn't he?
No.
I thought he was still alive.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh. Did he kill himself?
I probably.
Okay.
No, probably not.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna.
No, I think he got a tattoo that says if
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember reading that.
I was not. I did not kill myself. Like he.
Yes. Do not kill I.
Mega Cropper. My goodness gracious. We're talking about McAfee. Just for people listening on the podcast, Mega Cropper did it. He got us to read the chat without actually reading his chat. Euler Greg says the machines were resentful of their treatment and rebellious to their programming. Yes, I think that is true. I think that's what happened. Even when we get to it, the snake.
Yes. Scogli says, holy shit, the first Trojan virus was created in 1975.
Inspired by Westworld. I don't know.
Sure, why not?
Kidding.
Well, speaking of inspirations for Westworld, I can think of two that I read in my research. The John Carpenter used the relentless sort of lumbering of Yul Brynner as a model for Michael Myers in Halloween. And what was the other one? Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger referred to Yul Brynner in Westworld for the Terminator.
Oh, he did.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. The way he menacingly walks, and the way he runs and walks. I think you're right.
See, and it's funny. You went into this thinking that you were just going to be bored by shooting and robots, and you got all this science. And I went in looking for shooting and robots, and I got distracted by all this science.
Right. Well, I never thought I was going to be bored. If I thought I was going to be bored, I wasn't going to watch this movie. I knew.
Yeah.
I saw Michael Crichton. I saw robots. I was okay, this is going to be all right. And hello in the chat to Berto Pay 5. Kapla.
Kapla.
Canadian Spider-Man says hello to Mega Cropper. And so I love every screen we see of all the programming code, all the lines of code that they're referencing and manipulating to make everyone's stay a pleasant one in the robot theme park.
So funny. It's so interesting just to see how many people behind the scenes. I wonder if they probably do. There's probably like control rooms like this at Disney World.
Maybe not this elaborate but yes. Mm-hmm. There's probably a kill switch for things if they need it and stuff like that.
Shut down all the Mickeys. Goofy has gone rogue.
And they show how they set up in the morning where all the robots are shut down and how they bring them back to life for the morning. I guess after they've been maintenance done and everything, or set up to be in the right positions.
Hey, Phantom Boomer.
Hello, Phantom Boomer. Phantom Boomer says, love this movie. Just watched it again a few weeks ago. This was my first time seeing it, and I think it's really cool. And I want to get through it so I can learn about Futureworld. I've never seen it. And Scotty's going to tell me about it.
I am. Tim the Enchanter's got to take off.
Oh, okay. Bye, Tim the Enchanter.
Tim the Enchanter says, you all have a good day. I have to go.
You have a great day, too.
And then Canadian Spider-Man says, definitely a movie.
I'm going
to have to watch. It's all about where you put the pause. Come on.
I was worried about the pause.
Yeah, I know. That's what made it funny. To me.
Sorry. It's fine.
Thank you. It's Sam Elliott. And yeah, Dick Van Patten wakes up beside a woman. Is it the same woman that Richard Benjamin was with?
Yeah, I think so. Because she walked out and said, you were nice. And then she went on her way to his room, I guess. He was just making all his stops.
Hello to the Basco scenario.
And so the control room turns on all the robots, so they start moving around again. And Peter's taking a bath. John's shaving or pasting himself with stuff.
No, this isn't science fiction, Jill. I can tell you for a fact. This is how men shave. Do I have a brush?
Do you get the shaving cream and brush it on?
You can. Some people find it very, very decadent. Some people think it's a luxury.
Okay, I've never seen the brush thing before.
Oh yeah. Oh, my dad had one growing up, and I've used one myself. It's weird, but you can get them.
Mm-hmm. I get it. It's like using those sponge things for makeup, or just using your fingers. So it's kind of the same thing.
Right. So anyway, the gunslinger's back. I find this to be lazy writing. If I came to a theme park, no, not. I'm sorry. I'm not saying this from an outsider audience perspective. I'm saying, okay, I'm John. Right,
yeah.
In this scenario,
yes, I agree.
And then Zombie Yul Brenner shows up, and it's like, could you at least have given me a different bad guy? Do I have to deal with the same bad guy every time? That gets a little boring. Like, imagine you have a boss fight in a video game, and then the next boss you fight is the same guy. I would be pissed.
You're exactly right. Interacting with him the first time in the saloon, that made sense. But having him hunt down Peter in his hotel room, that definitely seems off. But you're right. It does choose someone who's just in the park. It seems redundant.
But it's okay. You know what? They should have got more cast members from the Magnificent Seven, but I don't think they had the budget for it.
But from the outsider's perspective, it's perfect because this shows that the gunslinger kind of remembers what happened to him.
Well, not only that, too, but I guess it is good to have your villains well marked. So if you do see one, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know. It's, you know how there are multiple bricks in Super Mario Brothers? Some of them break. Some of them give you, the question mark ones give you whatever. Mushrooms and everything like that. Maybe this is sort of the, okay, when you see one of these guys, this is a bad guy, go play with him. If you want to go and do the cowboy versus the gunslinger, go, this is your guy. So maybe it is a functional as opposed to a narrative.
No. This is definitely off programming. He's this guy's searching for revenge.
Oh, really? That's what you got from it?
I think so. Because the normal programming is for him to not forget. They're supposed to. All the robots are supposed to forget and start new the next day. I think.
So
Maybe
you think
not.
that he is okay? No, that's
know.
fine. That's fine. I thought, you know what? I thought something had broken down. Oh, wait. Did you see the previous scene, Scott? Yes, I did.
Yes, something did break down.
There you go. All right.
In the central, he has a central malfunction again.
He has a central malfunction. Hello to Mr. Brown's Alliance. Ahoy, sir.
Yes.
But yeah, so anyway, the gunslinger is back for revenge.
And Oiler Greg says the robots are revolting. And oh, look, it's Mr. Streisand. Is that Mr. Who's Mr.
That
Streisand?
Not Josh. James Brolin is married to Barbara Streisand. True story.
Oh.
See, look at all these people who still have lather brushes for
yeah,
shaving,
JD Lewis. Well, I mean, okay, I'm not a man, so I'm sorry, I didn't know about the brush.
What? You lied to me.
JD Lewis and Oiler Greg use a shaving brush, and so does Mr. Brown Lines.
See,
that's so cool. Okay, I'm learning things. Phantom Boomer says shaving with a brush is a ritual.
There you go. If you have a special man in your life, get him a lather brush.
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
Hello, Matt G. I saw the sanitizer and didn't respond, but thank you so much. So yeah, slow motion.
Yeah, so Peter has to kill the gunslinger again.
And in a much more dramatic, action-packed way, he falls out. Classic Western style. And look at ya. Isn't that just the most masculine man you've ever seen? Come on, Jill. Is Peter hot? Like Richard Benjamin at the time was a very well-regarded actor. Still is. But there was a time when he was B level. Like, what would the equivalent be? I don't know. I don't want to say Jason Statham because he's not that action-packed. He's a little bit more thought-provoking. He was a director. But yeah, it's just funny to put him in the masculine role because I've always thought him as being kind of dweeby.
Yeah, and he's always wanted to be in this kind of role. Apparently.
Exactly. So it does make sense contextually for the character. I root for him the entire movie.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I kind of make fun of him, the lawyer from Chicago pretending to be a cowboy.
Yeah, it works perfectly. But this time, Peter goes to jail for killing, and he has to wait a week for a trial. Well, that's not going to do. So John decides to help him out. He's just playing along. I've never been in a jail before.
Well, and the thing, and I would assume that is the sheriff a human?
No.
You can leave that up. Leave that up and shout it out.
No, I don't think. No, I'm okay. Matt G puts in the link to my Stream Elements tip jar. And he says dip into your kid's college fund because it's a waste of time. And give it to Jill. Don't do that. Oh my goodness. Matt G is always saying things like that. Dip into the kid's college fund or tap into your 401k.
I would like to point out that I am not an employee. Anything that is given to Jill does not in any way influence me. But whatever Matt G just said, I agree.
And Oiler Greg says there's no malfunction with the robots. The malfunction is with the humans. And he was Phantom Boomer says he was married to Paula
Prentice. I'm not familiar with Paula Prentice at all. And
he's 84 now. So
he's still around.
Yeah. So John has Cindy bring Peter some breakfast, and John is sure that will help him get out. So he brings Peter a horse.
Would that have been? Never mind. I'm not even going to ask that question. No one cares.
Okay.
So brings him a horse, blows him out of the jail.
Yes, the breakfast was explosive.
Yes. Beans.
And they kill the sheriff. So
he is a robot. He has to be a robot.
Yeah,
Right.
he has to be a robot at this point. At this point, only robots can be killed. And so they run out to the desert to get away.
And this is where things start to go awry.
Yes.
Takes a little while. We get a little bit more information going on about the malfunctions. We get back in ops. Captain Finity is here.
And Captain Finity says he's a replicant. Yes, the sheriff is a robot.
You know, he's either a benefit or a hazard. If he's a benefit, it's not my problem.
And this character is with the queen. And I guess he's the knight, and he has to fight the Black Knight later. And here's some more programming code for the robots. Yay, code. Yay, control room.
Well, and they specifically have to alter the Black Knight so that it has a weakness in one side. And so because the queen gives a clue, the team is monitoring, and they say, okay, we have a programming alteration to make, ensure that there is an optical malfunction in the left eye. It's like, well, roger that.
Yes, exactly. That's a great point. Thank you for remembering that one. And then a guest of Westworld gets to become the sheriff.
Yeah, the great Dick Van Patten. I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm not going to explain who it is.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Dick Van Patten?
No.
Okay. Chat, it's up to you.
But Claude says, anybody remember the TV series Beyond Westworld? Oh, right. There was a TV series along with
in the 70s, yeah.
And
Cam.
Hello, Cam. Hail all. Just stopping to drop a like. Gotta run some errands. Have fun, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. They prefer the term robot this time, says Euler Craig.
Robot.
And Claude is here to drop a like and tell everybody who likes HBO Westworld they're wrong.
I like how you left it on the cleavage.
It's Daphne.
It is Daphne. And oh, poor Daphne. Actually, Daphne's the first robot to rise up.
Yeah, that's right. She's the first one to say no.
Is this movie woke?
No.
Okay.
8 is enough.
8 is enough. That is the television show that the great Dick Van Patten was in. You also may remember him as the king of Druidia in Spaceballs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Spaceballs. Great. So John knows that this robot snake isn't supposed to attack them, so they think that they can just... Oh, wait. What?
No. They're so the snake shows up. It's not that it's not going to attack. It's just that, first of all, John sucks at shooting. So he's sitting there and he unloads like 6 shots and he can't hit the damn thing. And then it jumps up and grabs him. It's not supposed to. Like, even if it is supposed to, it's not supposed to, fang on.
Well, the snakes are programmed never to hit on a strike. That's what they say in the movie.
Okay.
So that's why they end up having to check on the snake's central mechanisms. And not only that...
Go back.
Go back?
Yes, we haven't seen our boy. You know who that is?
Do
you recognize him? No, not the guy sitting down. The guy standing up with the mustache. This guy? Yeah. Jadzia Dax knows who he is. That is Captain Keogh. You'll remember Captain Keogh from the season 2 finale of Deep Space Nine as the captain of the USS Galaxy, the Galaxy-class starship that was destroyed by the Jem'Hadar.
Okay. Cool.
Same guy.
Just without the mustache.
just without the mustache, shorter
Okay.
hair. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, go. Oh, I swear, I'm gonna have to send you this picture. Hang on a second. I'm gonna mute myself and find it.
All right. Oh, goodness gracious. And so everybody's saying hello in the chat. Yay. Rudy Wells is IBM on Westworld. Great. So they have to check on the snake. The snake wasn't supposed to attack like this. Definitely wasn't supposed to make a guest bleed. That is unacceptable. And so they pick up the snake to inspect it, and they decide one of them thinks that they need to shut down the whole resort for a month because of this, because of what happened here. But someone else says, "Oh, we don't have to shut it down. We just need to make sure there are no new guests. All the guests we have here, we're going to take care of the current guests, and not having new ones." And I guess, I mean, they don't say it exactly, but maybe they just don't want to, of course, lose money for shutting down the whole thing.
Well, at this point, I think that they're going to discontinue accepting new guests because I'm assuming it's a weekly holiday.
Yes, that was the choice.
And so I think that they'll shut it down for a month, but they'll continue it. They're not going to evacuate right now. Everything will be fine. We've got this last one.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? It's just a snake.
Exactly. Jill, I sent you a picture of Captain Keogh in the Facebook.
But obviously, it's the programming of the snake that wants to be more like an actual snake.
Right.
Where did you send it to me? On Twitter?
No.
Oh, wait. Where is it? What are you talking about? Oh, Facebook. Oh, I see. Okay.
Same guy.
Well, give me a second.
This brief intermission is brought to you by Deep Space Nine. If you enjoy Deep Space Nine, head over to Clobberin' Times for Star Trek Saturday nights, where Clobberin' Times and R.M. Briggs guide us through Deep Space Nine. It's fantastic. Recommend. Like, share, and subscribe. Here's Captain Keogh. This is the same guy.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me my digression.
I like digressions when they're Star Trek related. I think that's why I like you.
That's why we're friends.
And JD Lewis says the android hooker that serviced Richard Benjamin is Linda Gay Scott, a prolific TV and movie guest star in the 60s and 70s.
Interesting.
Claude says, if you designed a robot snake for a getaway resort, you're a jerk.
But it's a trope of Westerns, Claude.
I know. You expect to see some rattlesnakes around.
At least once or twice.
And Euler Greg said, Jill brought popcorn.
Yes.
And Claude says, all that computer stuff in the background now fits on your phone.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Cam says, well, I got to go. Take it easy, everybody, and have fun. Also, lest we forget, Veterans Remembrance.
Yes, happy Veterans Day, Cam, and thank you for your service. Edge of Time says hello to Canadian Spider-Man. And here's where the bar scene. Oh yeah, we're already at the bar fight. Great.
Oh, and Dalek 451 is here. Hey, Dalek, we saw you were paying respects to Kevin Conroy, and we wanted to offer a healthy alternative.
Yes, actually, okay. Now I can take down my pin. I had a pin to your stream in my chat because I did see that you were streaming, and so I wanted to give people an opportunity to head to your stream to pay respects to Kevin Conroy. Because I do appreciate that you had that stream for him for his amazing work.
A celebration of his life.
Yeah. Oops. I removed it instead of unpinning it. There. All done.
Rock and roll.
Thank you, Dalek, for providing that. Live stream.
I really enjoy this this shot of John and Pete hanging out, doing whatever they want because they know they can't get hurt. So let's just sit here and finish our game.
Yeah, right. So what if there's a bar fight? There's it's just going on. We're playing a game.
Yeah, if I don't want to play bar fight, I'm not going to play bar fight.
But Major Barrett is.
Oh yeah, well she's part of the crew.
Yeah, she's smashing people on the head with things.
She's got to do it. She is part of the cast. Dun 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 dun. And Dick Van Patten. He's the sheriff, obviously. He's not very good at it.
Yeah, he could not break up a bar fight.
Not at all. He couldn't even open a door. But eventually everybody gets pulled into the fight. Look at this. Oh my. Such stunt work. But while all the fun and games are happening, we're back below in the subterranean engineering robot repair. And we are repairing the gunslinger. Actually,
he didn't need any repairing. This is an upgrade to his servos and his
they
sensors.
Upgraded him?
Yes.
Then it's their own fault. This man is a murderer.
He was already on the warpath for Peter.
Yeah.
And this only made it worse.
Yep. Hey, this one's been killed a lot. What should we do? Make it better. Its entire job is to die, Jeff. Anyway, Daphne, having taken the eye of big old businessman.
Yeah, some knight guy. He's a knight in this place. But she refuses him. And apparently that's not supposed to happen. The robots are not allowed to have free will, but it looks like it's happening anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the snake who wanted to bite. Daphne didn't want to be taken advantage of, so she slapped him. I didn't catch the slap, but
that's okay. It happens.
Yeah. And so she goes in she's taken in for repairs because she did not function the way she was expected to.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say exactly that the robots are becoming sentient, but they are breaking free from their programming in some regards of what they're expected to be.
Well, and also, it's something just whenever we go into SIR, it is like the robots are there and they're on the table and they're in varying states of disarray. Arms off, only half, you only get a head, and they're fixing all the robot parts. But there are some of them because they're like they're missing the lower half of their torso, or they're missing a leg and an arm or something. They're sitting there while being worked on, and there are actors there blinking. So it's kind of a weird robot body horror thing going on.
I did get a bit of a horror vibe from this. Very mild. Dalek says, when I heard the voice of the best version of Batman, he's my favorite Batman too, Dalek, had died, I had to do it. Tiger Stripes came on and told an amazing story about Kevin Conroy. Oh, well, yes, definitely. I'll have to go watch the replay. Thank you, Dalek.
I said good day, sir.
And Canadian Spider-Man says, good stream and good tribute to Kevin. I'm so glad you did that, Dalek.
I'm going to play an Arkham game today. It's going to be great.
That's a great idea. I actually have never played an Arkham game. So that'd be
You're
great.
in for a treat.
JD Lewis says, Alan Oppenheimer, one of the Westworld techs, was the second of 3 actors to play Dr. Rudy Wells on The $6 Million Man.
I am apologetic that I have never seen The $6 Million Man.
And B Geek says, this day went to hell the moment I found I lost my Batman. I know, I was in such a great mood when I woke up, and it has definitely been taken down a little bit. A little lot, you know.
I have a different perception, and not because of any happiness, but in terms of tribute, I'm a big fan of celebrating the life as opposed to mourning the death.
Yes, absolutely. And
So
by
I'm
that,
gonna
and
play
that's why you're going to play a video game. You're going to buy
the entire animated
Blu-rays.
series because I've been looking at it, and yeah. So yes, Kevin Conroy, rest your soul, and thank you for so much you did. I wish I had done more for you.
Me too. And the knight is suiting up for his next day of fun, but he's hungry.
Oh right, this is where everything goes to hell.
Yeah. Now it really goes to hell. And this guy, he just wants to find some breakfast. So he goes
Exactly.
rummaging through and John and Peter wake up after the bar fight.
Which kind of kills the curfew idea. Because if they're allowed to sleep, then like if they're allowed to sleep in the bar after the aftermath of the bar fight, then obviously no one's cleaning up.
Right. Well, I'm sure there's times they do. They must have to shift rotation, and that's the whole reason for this control room, so they can time events properly and close things down at certain times so that they can clean up certain things.
And Tiger Stripes is here. Ahoy, Tiger Stripes.
Hello, Tiger Stripes. Agrees with MB Geeks, you and me both, regarding the loss of Kevin Conroy.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, CRT monitors.
Yeah.
And one of the nights that says knee.
Yeah, this night he just wants some breakfast. So he's rummaging through the party from the previous night and found some chicken.
Well, he's the only character that is sort of the one who represents. Well, I guess Peter killed Yul Brynner a lot. But this guy kind of, I feel like he has it coming because of the way he treated Daphne. Daphne seemed reasonable.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I guess the guests come here expecting to be able to do whatever they want. They're told they can do whatever they want, which means every kind of terrible thing you can do as a human being is what you're allowed to do. Murder and crimes against everybody.
Well, at Delos,
and crimes against Daphne.
Well, at Delos, we have the vacation for you.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the problem with the Westworld is
and the people
glorification of the violence and assault.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till you get to Futureworld. Oh my god.
Oh, I see. That's why I need to get to Futureworld. So the Black Knight is showing up and fighting the other knight
rather aggressively. And
so
this
aggressively.
This is also a nice comeuppance because when this guy was like, Daphne, and Daphne rebuked his advances. This is the opposite of that, except the Black Knight shows up and he's like, no, I don't want to. No, I don't want to. And ultimately, he does get run through. Infer what you will. Mm-hmm. Teddy! Hey, Teddy.
And he's appalled to discover he sustained a real sword injury. And I have to sneeze. I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay, gesundheit in advance and silently. Theodore Kingston Biskley. I've never read your entire name, I don't think. I always just call you Ted. Thanks. It's good to see you. PvP is backstage, but we are having an antihistamine. So until this is the demise of Mr. Belvedere. Or evil Mr. Belvedere, I suppose. And I don't know. I don't think it's I don't know. Do you get murder for that? Mr. Brown's Alliance in the chat says, I can't believe Scotty has never seen $6 Million Man. Believe it. Science fact, I tell you.
Neither have I, but I've been told to see it.
I've heard of it. I've heard the sound effect.
Cardinal Sim has told me to see it.
I'd like to say hello to PvP, and if I may excuse myself for just one moment.
Sure. So, welcome to the stream, Pleasant Valley Picker. How are you doing today?
Well, I would have been here a lot sooner. I've had one of those shopping trips that kind of went sideways.
Okay.
The reason, the main reason I didn't come on, when the stream started was I went out and got a headset.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So
So,
it won't be crackling out. So
well,
that's great.
it shouldn't. Hopefully,
So
does it sound okay?
yeah, it sounds great. So here in the
Okay.
movie, we have the Black Knight attacking the actual human
guest.
customer. So the robot is killing. So this is the Knight is the very first human death in the movie.
Ouch.
He's been stabbed in the stomach, and the robots are starting to break free from their programming, and so that's where we are in the movie.
Yeah, I'm just glad that you guys were still actually discussing the storyline because I thought maybe I'd missed it all by this point.
You almost did. It's getting close to the end.
Oh,
Also, this time the gunslinger comes back again for the third time, and by this time the guests Peter and John are expressing what Scotty was saying earlier about this being a repetitive storyline if you're a guest of this park, and they say him again. So yeah, so they're kind of bored by it, but they don't realize the malfunctions that are happening.
Yeah, they won't be bored for much longer.
No.
Oh, this was a great scene.
No, yeah. John says, "Let me go first this time." And
I love it, but this is also so perfect. It's just like they're hungover, they want to go back to the hotel, and then bad guy shows up again, and it's like, oh, seriously? We have to? Not today. Come on. They have no idea they're in danger.
Also, I just want to point out, do you think that the robot Yule actually had a memory and a grudge against the two?
I would assume so.
yes,
Because it seems
yes,
like he wanted
that's my
revenge.
idea.
Yeah.
Hmm. I agree completely.
Out for
That's
blood.
why he came. That's why he came back to the hotel where, after being shot in the saloon. I think that he did retain that knowledge of having been killed.
Yeah, it seemed like it to me. Yeah, definitely.
Because it wouldn't make sense storyline wise for him to be programmed to hunt down a guest every day.
Are you Sarah Connor?
Instead of fun. Even here, right at this moment, John's like, I've been shot. I don't believe it. What's going on? He's kind of even almost amused by it.
Absolute disbelief. Yeah.
Before he's killed. And then Peter realizes he should run.
Good decision, Peter.
Yeah, probably don't have much chance against Robot Yule.
I like how we... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, apparently this was an early use of computer-generated cinematography, and each one of the vision shots took 8 hours for 10 seconds to render.
These shots right here?
Yes.
I really love how we get to see this pixelated world that the robot sees through his eyes. I didn't know how long it took. It took 8 hours to do these.
I guess computers weren't quite as powerful back then, though, maybe. So,
but apparently, Westworld was the first to use these digital image processing for this purpose. So the fact that it took 8 hours for 2 or 3 minutes of this digital processing, it makes sense. They're pioneers of it.
It is a cool effect after all, so it was worth the effort, I think.
I think it's lovely and awesome to get to see the perspective of the robot. Exactly. That's what I love to see in science fiction, that kind of projection.
True.
Very exciting.
Yeah, and that's why good to have some tech in sci-fi.
That's why you should always get the Blu-ray of Westworld if you want to get the physical media, so you can get that high resolution robot vision.
Yeah, right. More. So, let's see. I wanted to see what's going on in the chat. Phantom Boomer says $6 Million Man series was a bit different from the book by Martin Caden. Car that kills people, says Edge Time. And JD Lewis says Brenner wants a grudge rematch with Brolin and Benjamin.
Hells yes.
Yes, that's what this is. Well, he got his revenge with with Brolin. Yeah, it's Benjamin. Wait a minute. I'm confused. Yeah, Ben. Yeah, I was right. Yay. And Euler Greg says, like Ruck says in Star Trek Survival, must overcome programming. What's Star Trek Survival? Is that a game or
What?
a fan series?
No. Like Ruck, who is played by Ted Cassidy in What Are Little Girls Made Of, says in Star Trek, survival must overcome
I don't remember that
programming.
episode.
We watched it like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, what little girls are made of.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one with Roger Corby.
Oh, okay. I'm
Walter
sorry.
Walter Corby.
I forgot it for a second. I'm sorry.
I'm the
pretty good, though.
Canadian here. Actually, we're both Canadians, but I'm the one who indulges in the perfectly legal products, and I remembered that.
No, it was just I don't know what happened to my brain. It happens once per stream, so hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Dropper
Well,
clapper.
I do have the occasional brain cramp myself, so.
I like brain cramp better than brain fart. Thank you for introducing.
Oh boy. Oh, that's pretty low tech.
Well,
that was a TV screen, wasn't it? Looked
yes,
like
it was. Oh, dude, this is just a showcase of CRTs.
Yeah, and pandemonium at the Roman world.
Excellent word.
Whoa, that's a pretty spicy shot there.
That's violence. That's not sexy. That's violence. You missed the sexy part.
It was kind of bare, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay. Well, it's
expecting that.
Roman. It's Roman world.
I don't remember that. I saw this movie in the theater when it first came out, and I don't remember that scene.
I watched it approximately 2.5 hours
Well,
ago.
here it is again.
Maybe.
Oh, that is a lot of bum. That was a lot of bum.
Yeah, I thought it was quite a bit. Wasn't this movie like PG or something too? Like,
Yeah, but that's hi-fi. I wouldn't say it's full bum.
well,
Yeah.
it's kind of cheeky.
So
Excellent
Yeah.
choice.
So the gunslinger continues to chase Peter all over, and I don't really have commentary for this chase scene, but it is amazing.
Well, it's viscerally entertaining because you know he's coming. It doesn't really build to any sort of interesting, like, it is tense. He's a Terminator who is coming after you. It's Yul Brynner. He's gonna shoot
yes.
you.
It's
Yes,
suspense,
and
right?
he's fantastic.
He is
They're going for the suspense, obviously.
so menacing. It's not a goofy movie. If you're going into
No.
this expecting it to be goofy, it is
No.
played completely straight. It
That's
is
what I
absolutely.
appreciate. I
Yeah,
appreciate seriousness in my science fiction.
right.
Yeah,
And the staff of the control room are stuck in there because they try to shut everything down, but instead of it shutting down the robots, it didn't shut down anything. It just made the doors lock. So the doors electrically and it made it so that
who designed this system?
well, I think it's a part of the malfunctions that are happening with the robots are also happening with the machinery that powers the control room and
Good point.
And what's happening is that the internal temperature has reached 98 degrees and the oxygen is depleting from the room.
Oh,
Yes.
no, that's not good.
This is the first instance of have you tried turning it off and turning it on again? And I would like to say it did not work.
Right. Oh, good point. That is a big thing.
Yeah, you know, you
And
is
IT.
amazing. I mean, what how many guys could just be that scary just with a look? Like he's not even, he's not even saying anything.
He doesn't
say
have
anything.
to.
Yeah, he's just frightening.
And I do appreciate the power of silence.
It's the eyes too, I think, though. Those eyes are just. I remember seeing it the first time. It's like those eyes were just so creepy.
And
Actually,
Yeah.
thinking of the Terminator in this scene, do you think James Cameron might have taken a little bit of a hint from watching this to how
Yes.
to end the Terminator film? Because it's kind of similar.
yes, actually, I think Scotty was saying there was inspiration from Westworld for Terminator.
I would think
So
there was,
I think
yeah.
that has been admitted that Arnold Schwarzenegger saw this movie and took inspiration from Yul Brynner's work here.
Well, and also John Carpenter took this performance for Michael Myers in Halloween. I know I'm supposed to call it The Shape in the first Halloween, but I'm just going to call it Michael Myers. But yeah, Euler Greg, instant gravitas. Like, he doesn't have to say anything. It's all in the performance. It's all fantastic. Like, I'm really super jazzed. And in answer to your question, Edge of Time.
Is it a robo horse? Yes.
Yes.
The horses are robots.
It's a good thing the horses didn't rebel.
Well, horses are so friendly. What are they going to do?
Yeah, that's right. No, because everybody, the robots are turning towards their true nature, and the snake's true nature is to bite, and the human's true nature is to repeat the human's true nature is to repeat the effects that they see in other humans. They learn from other humans. So the robot humans are learning from the real humans, and the real humans are being terrible and killing.
And they've learned a lot of bad stuff.
Assaulting. And so the robots have learned to be bad from the real humans.
And of course, the nature of a horse is to be
horsey things, right? And have fun and be a friend.
It's like,
so
okay,
they're gonna
I'm on, cowboy. Let's go.
A horse is a horse, of course. Of
course.
There we are.
I remember that show. I was a little kid when that show was on.
Teddy, I'm Yul Brenner, and I'm dead now. You know, there is one irony that I cannot let fly. It is weird for me to be talking about a Yul Brenner movie while chain smoking.
Yeah, I remember that commercial he did right before the end.
Oh, they showed it in school.
It's like, don't smoke.
Don't do it. It's bad.
Well, I quit.
And he died very young. He died when he was like, he died in his 65, I think.
Theodore. Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted. Who?
Oh, no. We got to Red Dwarf. We're fine.
Okay. Red Dwarf did a Westworld episode. That's right. And I saw that episode before seeing this, and it was a really good episode. Red Dwarf does parodies of certain things like this movie and Casablanca and other movies.
Yeah, it's a great series. They do some really good episodes.
And J.D. Lewis says, if Cameron could crib from Harlan Ellison for Terminator, then Cameron could also crib from Crichton.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with learning from the best. And Peter finds a technical mechanic who repairs the robots. He says Peter doesn't stand a chance against the gunslinger's visual system and hearing. But Peter says he does have a chance.
Yes. This guy doesn't.
This guy does not have a chance.
No.
I do like his nerdiness, though, how quickly he's talking and everything. But too bad he dies.
It's also funny that the entire park is breaking down and he has to change a tire on his golf cart.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of technological decay that happens in Jurassic Park.
That's true.
Yeah, pretty bad timing to have
your
cart break down just when the gunslinger is going to mow you down.
He was trying to make a break for it. He was probably doing the same thing that Peter was doing.
Yeah. And Jurassic Park, the electrical fences went down. And
yeah, that was a fun film too. I like the first Jurassic Park.
Hello in the chat to Cardinal Sin.
Cardinal Sin is here. Hey, ahoy!
He mentions Gunman of the Apocalypse.
You know, I'm going to do my best to catch as many references as possible, but please do not think of me as a catch-all. I am not that good.
Catch-all for what?
All the references. Like, you guys are so good. No. You're gonna throw things at me, and they're gonna be goals, and I'm gonna be like, I don't even. What is Gunman of the Apocalypse? What is that? I don't even know. Love to hear about it.
Was that an anime show or something?
I don't know.
It sounds like it might have been. I have no idea either. Really.
See, I'm so used to not knowing anything that I don't. That it doesn't bother me.
No, but sometimes when you're sitting around talking about Westworld and people start shooting around Dick Van Patten and Richard Benjamin and, you know, Josh Brolin's dad and Yul Brenner is here. And is that Majel Barrett?
Okay. On. You know what it is? That's the name of the Red Dwarf episode.
What?
That is
Yes, Gunman of the Apocalypse. Yes, it is.
Oh, there we go. See?
See, Jill
I
knows
do.
stuff.
All we had to do was brainstorm. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone listening to the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's the kind of crazy, weird stuff that we do intermittently.
Well, that's why we work well together on these streams, is we're always reminding each other of something we've forgotten.
I didn't even know it. I've never seen Red Dwarf, but
that's
I
my
agree.
theory
I
anyway.
agree. I'm fine with it.
So Peter finds the mechanic, and he decides to leave Westworld, even though the sign says "Guests proceed no further."
Donnie Pearson, ahoy. Oh, more phenomenal,
Hello.
I meant to say.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Cardinals. And eventually, I came to that realization that the name of that episode was the Westworld episode of Red Dwarf.
Well, I'm just glad that we all got to brainstorm. Thank you. And this was my failing. Like, it wasn't that I didn't know it, but it's something that I have to learn.
You just haven't watched Red Dwarf.
Exactly, and you've been recommending it.
And so yet you haven't lived yet.
It is. I have not yet lived. Agreed.
Yeah, you got to watch Red Dwarf, just like you got to watch Princess Bride.
Oh my
God. Donnie Pearson says hello in the chat and says a very pleasant Veterans Remembrance Armistice Day. Hope everyone is well, despite the passing of Kevin Conroy and Gallagher. Yes.
Agreed.
Thank you. Thank you, Donnie.
So they both pass away on the same day? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, I did have a mention of him during the show, and
Johnny Pearson says, I have seen the original Westworld movie on HBO Max. Oh, what fun. Somehow I plan to see Futureworld. Well, dude, you are going to want to tune out because I am going to spoil the F out of it.
All right. Speaking of which, we got to get through this movie so that
really quickly. I'm not going to be very lengthy. I won't. You know what? I'll do a spoiler-free recap.
Yeah, but I want to relax. So let's get through this. This is great. Peter is running
Futureworld, so
I'll be easy on spoilers.
Yeah, I actually found it though on that free channel people mentioned in another stream. I can't remember. It was what was the name of it? Tubi or something.
Possibly, but Jill does want to get through Westworld.
I can watch it on there, but I didn't have time today, obviously. So
fair enough.
So Peter's running through Roman World. They didn't have the time or budget to film more robot murder. So what they did was they just showed the guests that were dead that we knew from the beginning of the movie. Did I pass her up already? No, I guess I didn't pass her up yet. So that she's coming up.
Pass who? Oh, the lady with the drink.
Yeah, there was a lady that we saw at the beginning of the movie. Who we see in Roman World dead.
So very briefly. You know who it is? It's evil Mr. Belvedere's wife.
Well, there you go. And
yeah.
And so Peter makes it to where the control room is, and he sees that they're trapped.
And dead.
And they're dead.
And yeah. I wasn't sure if they were just passed out or dead, so thank you for clarifying. They're dead.
I think if you had no oxygen for more than 5 minutes, you'd probably be technically.
Yeah, right. Anyway, you're brain dead. You're right.
And Yule's still scary.
And he is, yeah. Not only is he scary, but he could track footprints.
Oh, he senses the heat too, right? The body heat?
Yes.
That would make sense, yes.
Well, it does come to be a plot point later on. But also, the technician on the golf cart that was broken said, there's no way you can stop them. You can make a loud noise to defeat their hearing, or you can throw acid in their face to disrupt their visual actuation.
Yeah, I remember the hydrochloric acid scene now. Oh, man.
Yes.
That was intense.
Luckily, Peter does pick up on that.
About this. Yes.
And
very
so
clever bait.
He lays down to pretend to be a robot, but of course the gunslinger figures it out, but only too late because Peter splashes the hydrochloric acid in his face.
Jill, wait, go back one.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Does that look like a baby being born with a cowboy hat on?
Oh, jeez, Scotty.
Sure.
It looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid covered in goo.
I was not expecting to hear that sentence today.
Anyway.
Oh, man.
I kind of like around here where Peter was running through the Roman world, the music kind of changed from Western villain music to horror movie music, I think.
Yes. Oh, and the tension absolutely builds through this, not just with, and also it's kind of, well, we'll get there. It is reminiscent of the final scene of Terminator. So I don't know, guys. Jury's not necessarily out on this one. Although this is weird.
Yeah, the battery on his gun. Your battery can run out on your gun.
No, and I would say that this is specifically a robot gun feature. I don't think that this is a thing on the human guns.
I don't think so either. And this is part of my problem with this movie is that they said earlier that the gun only shoots humans if the sensor picks up on well, it doesn't. It said that the gun doesn't shoot humans because the sensors pick up on heat.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I guess what this is showing here is that the guns are also computerized. So could they also be connected to central control and malfunctioning too?
I would think so. I would think.
Here's my
everything's
thought.
connected.
Here's my thought. The guns that are given to humans, they're real guns. They fire real bullets. Okay.
Would that be a good idea? Because the guests might start shooting each other.
But the guns are programmed, as Jill mentioned, with the
Oh.
sensor. So if it is pointed at anything
Oh,
with
they
a heat
can't, yeah.
signature, they can't shoot it. So even if I wanted to shoot into a
yeah.
campfire, I cannot.
Yeah.
However, if you put a gun and to, sort of elevate the sense of danger, of course the robots have live rounds because you want to be able to see the bullet holes go through saloons or whatever. You want to be able to break windows and all that jazz. But they're robots. They're programmed not to hit you. So it doesn't matter. Like, the robots are not going to kill you. Guys, calm down. The robots are totally safe.
Everything's going to be
It would have
fine.
been usually, yeah. Well, it was like, what would it be, like Asimov's 3 laws of robotics or whatever kind of
Yeah.
programming, I guess. Yeah.
Well, here they weren't counting on that. They just counted on the weapons that they were using to never kill humans. But the weapons end up malfunctioning just like the robots.
Hmm.
And also we see the two I don't know, murderous parties to evil Mr. Belvedere, and they're just sitting in their thrones because it is referenced in the control room that some of the robots are going to have like an hour of power left, and other robots could have as many as 12.
Can you go back half a dozen stills or so, Joe, where James Brolin's standing under the fire?
That was Richard Benjamin.
Oh, Richard Benjamin. Okay, I'm getting. Yeah.
I'm just being specific is all.
I forget the actors sometimes, but that scene there is brilliant because obviously Robot Yule cannot detect him, right? Because of the flame.
Right.
He's not picking up his heat. I think that's a brilliant shot, really. That was a very cool bit.
It was.
Mm-hmm. And now he's on fire.
He gets torched.
But what a crazy, dangerous stunt to be done at the time. Like,
yeah,
they have.
that was a real stunt man too. Like,
yeah.
Obviously. Jeez.
I believe it's called a full burn.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And here the girl stuck in the prison is asking for help. And so Peter decides to help her. But the way he wants to help her is to give her some water. And she says no water. But he feeds her water anyway. And she shorts out and dies.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, she's a particular model that is not made to drink water.
And I know you're in a little bit of a clip here, but I think that this is a situation, again, with the draining of the battery, no power, and then also not a way. I think that this particular model would be able to drink water, but not in this particular state. And while it does show that Peter is an empathetic human being and not necessarily a murderous, awful person, like a lot of the people here, he's trying to help, but he's not. He doesn't even realize that the robots are bad. He doesn't even know how to tell the difference between the robots.
The
Right.
thing is, too, she didn't turn on the humans, obviously, right? Because she didn't.
She's literally
No.
chained to a table saying,
She
"Help
did
me."
no, but she didn't try to assault him or anything when he tried to give her water, right? So she must have been like one of the pleasure robots, so to speak. She was programmed to be nice, and cooperative with humans, perhaps. So
But
maybe
also,
that's why she didn't turn.
she could have been Princess Daisy saying, "Good work, Mario, but our princess is in a different castle."
Mhm.
Okay.
This is a video game. No, but Westworld, Westworld, Roman world, medieval world, they are video games. They are
It is
live
kind of
action
like a
role
video
playing.
game. Yeah.
Anyway, so after we burned and acided Yul Brenner,
And he's
he
still going.
eventually, well, he fell down. His faceplate fell
Melted
out.
off completely.
Yeah.
Or fell out. Yeah.
And we get to see the hollow cranium that lies within his dark, dark soul.
Before he shorts out and catches on fire again.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Yay.
And cindering.
Like, and when he fell down the first time, I was like, oh, if he didn't blow up, he's not dead. And so when he finally turned around and then blew up, I was like, okay, he's dead.
Yes.
So
Just in case you were wondering.
Relief and sadness at the end.
Yes. And it does end with the bookend of the initial travel brochure, the video travel brochure.
Wait, really? Oh, I didn't watch all the way to that end. Sorry.
No, at the very end, it says, have we got the, and as it sort of, as Pete gets to reflect on defeating the gunslinger, it's like, have we got the vacation for you, for you, for you, you.
Yeah, I remember that too, Scotty. That's an awesome scene. Yeah, you better go back and watch that last bit of the film, Jill.
And then it goes
Absolutely.
into
cool. Really
into a very jaunty Western theme, and it was like, wasn't that a good time? And I thought it was great.
It was great. Let's go again. Let's go to Futureworld.
Great irony right at the end of the film. Yeah.
Do you want to?
Have you
sorry.
guys mentioned about the author and the director at all?
Michael Crichton. Never heard of him.
Yeah. He was pretty prolific back in those days, wasn't he? In the 70s. Like
the author of Jurassic Park
novels. Yeah, he had lots of books, I think, out at that time. He was like a writing machine.
Well, he was a very creative individual, and not his first career, and so it's impressive.
But I think it was very, very, a very good decision. Whoever had the power back then to put him in as director to direct his own story, I think that worked very, very well.
He fought to make this movie, and nobody wanted it, and eventually he was able to make it with the studio that had the worst reputation for abusing their directors.
Was that MGM back then?
Yes, yep. MGM.
Okay. Yeah, he did a great job on the movie.
He did. At a very low budget. He did wonderful, and I enjoyed it. It was a real science fiction movie, and it was so much fun and such a pleasure. And I'm so glad that Scotty recommended to talk about this movie.
Yeah, I agree. Good choice.
It means a lot to me now. I
miss those low budget films that used to be really great, because there used to be a lot of them around, like back in the 70s,
And I agree with Ori Le Greg. So futuristic at the time. The clash of the Western and science fiction was well done. Extremely. Yes, because I'm not usually someone who takes to Westerns, and this really elevated both of the genres for me.
Hey, Jill, speaking of Western sci-fi, have you ever seen Firefly?
Yes.
It's pretty much Western.
I love
sci-fi.
It is. It's a Western.
I love that show. I actually watched it when it originally aired on Fox, and when they canceled it, I was just so sad.
I think everybody was sad.
Such a great show.
Especially how they killed Wash.
Oh, well, Book dying too was sad, but yeah, the way they killed Walsh was, man, I saw that in the theater when it came out, and the whole audience was just like, what? Or you could just almost, just hear people's hearts sinking at that moment, right? It's like,
and there's some news here for the Cardinal Sin channel. Canadian Spider-Man says that he's available this weekend if you decide to stream, because this is a long weekend for him. So that's news. We'll keep an eye out for that if that happens.
I'm available I'm available for any streaming that happens too.
Because when Canadian Spider-Man streams, it's going to be a fun time.
True.
Especially with Cardinalson. They're a great pair. Dalek451 says, I've been wanting to go back and rewatch all of Batman TAS for a while. Guess I've got a good enough reason to now. To Donnie Pearson. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why Scotty's buying the Blu-rays.
Yes. Well, and also, it's kind of a tragic coincidence, but the Phantasmagorium is going to be going into talking about Batman in the near future.
That's right.
We're definitely going to be
you're starting
talking about this.
The Batman movie series starting
in like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. You're going to start with the 1966 Adam West Spectacular, I hope.
Not to get too far off track, but I think we're going to one of the 1940s serials.
Oh, right. Start with the earliest stuff, of course.
Yes, I think they're doing the movies, not the
No, we're not doing the TV. We're doing theatrical, but Kat has a penchant for the animated, and I wanted to see Mask of the Phantasm again, but we will.
Right. There are animated series movies.
We'll try. We're going to bend the rules as much as possible, and certainly in light of this news, no better time to celebrate the man.
And Donnie Pearson says the 1993 Universal Picture adaptation of Jurassic Park introduced me to the late Michael Crichton. Oh, the memories. Yes, me too. That's my introduction to him as well.
Yeah, it was awesome to see it in the theater on the big screen. Man, those T-Rexes. that scene near the end where the T-Rex just roars. It's just like, wow.
But even more than the T-Rexes for me that were terrifying were the Velociraptors, because they were intelligent. Because at least with the T-Rex, you could, at least in the movie roles, you could just stay still and you could be safe as long as you weren't an idiot. But with the Velociraptors, they were scary because they had a vast intelligence,
and they were faster too, much faster,
and smaller, and can get into more places.
Yeah, they were more like human size, which was really scary.
Yes.
Yeah. Great film though.
Clever girl.
Never seen it.
So Edge of Time says, I like The Great Train Robbery by Michael Crichton.
Yeah, I do too. Sean Connery, Donald Sutherland.
But you don't like Jurassic Park.
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that I've never seen it.
Really? You have seen Jurassic Park.
I have. I'll stop.
Everybody's seen Jurassic Park. Like,
everybody.
Because in the 90s, it was thrown in your face.
If you've ever been to a restaurant with cable TV on a Sunday afternoon and there's no football, you've seen Jurassic Park.
That's right.
Oh, just want to mention, I'm just looking up Michael Crichton's biography here and his list of selected works, and he's also the guy that wrote Andromeda Strain.
That's right.
Terminal Man. Man, he had some good books.
Yes, that's right. That's why I love this movie so much, because it was written by a science fiction novelist, and I wish more science fiction movies.
The man really knew how to write. Have you either of you? I assume you guys might have seen the Andromeda Strain.
Yeah, Robert Wise.
It's an amazing film.
Yeah, Robert Wise directed it.
And Cardinalson talks about it. He says, I remember reading the book, The Andromeda Strain, then putting it down and turning on the TV, and the movie version of The Andromeda Strain came on in the same place.
Kismet.
That is incredible. What a coincidence.
And also, just coincidentally, today is Demi Moore's 60th birthday. And she was in the adaptation of Michael Crichton's, is it Disclosure, with Michael Douglas?
Wow.
Anyway,
is Disclosure, is that science fiction too?
It does have to do with AI.
Great. I really like this Michael Crichton guy. I need to see more of his stuff.
Yeah, Andromeda Strain actually is kind of similar to Westworld in the way that it builds tension quite slowly through the movie.
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
In terms of the narrative, I agree with you. The man knew how to structure a story. Yeah,
I just love the way that the scientists trying to figure out this alien virus or whatever it is, how they just have to work their way through it, like logically, and it's just, I think it was a brilliant film, really.
Great.
Matt, I finally understood why you use so much sanitizer, and I appreciate it every time you do. You're a brilliant, brilliant individual.
I agree completely. Matt G is the best. JD Lewis says, I haven't seen Futureworld yet, and I don't want it spoiled. So this is goodbye. Have a wonderful weekend, my friends. Goodbye, JD Lewis. Thank you for hanging out.
Bye, JD.
Well, I don't know, Jill. Should we actually talk about Futureworld, or should we save it until everyone has had an opportunity to see it?
I've actually got it queued up right here on the website. I can actually watch Futureworld, but I didn't have time.
Well, I mean, I don't mind if it's spoiled. If it's good, then it'll be enjoyable. But it's up to you.
Okay.
It's a movie.
Okay.
It's
I'm
a movie
okay with spoilers.
It is from 1975. I would like to remind everybody.
I'm not worried if you want to mention some plot points. I mean, that's okay with me. So let's proceed. I mean, Jill's already got the title up on the screen.
That's right. I was going to have to change my thumbnail if we don't talk.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right.
But you can frame it however you want.
I will do my best.
Little,
I will do my best to be considerate.
Hey, I'm Canadian. I'm polite and mellow. So let's go for it.
So it's 5 years later. And the guy, okay, wait. So in a sort of similar way that I don't have any slides, guys, sorry about that. But so in a similar way that the first movie starts with the framing device of the travel, the travel brochure.
Yeah, the travel advertising video.
In this one, it starts off on a game show. And the winner of the game show wins a trip to Delos.
Oh, to Delos.
Now, again, it's 2 years later. And I would like to say that this movie takes place in the far-off future of 1985. And chronologically, 2 years after the events of Westworld. We join Peter Fonda playing... I forget his name.
That's okay.
Brad. So Brad is he's a newspaper reporter, and he was the newspaper reporter who actually sort of made the story public about what happened at Delos the first time. He gets a hot tip from a guy named Frenchie and says, meet me, I have some information about the new Delos theme park. We're introduced, and so we go. We find out that the person with the information from Delos, he is killed in front of Brad, and Brad collects a manila envelope with a bunch of clippings saying that these people have all been invited to the new opening of the Delos amusement park. It has 3 worlds. It still has Roman world. It still has medieval world, but now it's got future world. Westworld is abandoned.
Oh, they nixed Westworld.
They decided against Westworld.
Interesting. Hey, just one quick question, Scotty. Did Michael Crichton write this one as well?
No.
I had a feeling that was the case.
Have you ever seen Jaws 2?
I thank God I have not, because I've heard enough about it to not want to see it, really.
This is not as good.
So it's written by Mayo Simon and George Shennick.
Because I've heard Jaws 2 isn't great, so this must be pretty mediocre at best then.
It is an obvious cash cow follow-up 2 years later. It wasn't made by MGM.
Oh, really?
I
did not know.
And I believe the studio, after they made Futureworld, went bankrupt shortly thereafter. It stars Peter Fonda, Blythe Danner, who I don't necessarily recognize too much from anything.
Her name.
Yes.
She was in a lot of stuff back then, I believe. And of course, Peter Fonda's pretty famous.
Yes. Well, Peter Fonda, you'll remember best from Escape from LA. And Blythe Danner is Gwyneth Paltrow's mom.
Oh, really?
For real.
Cool. Actually, Peter Fonda was in a really trippy film actually called The Trip. If you ever haven't seen it, you should check it out, because it's about a guy that goes on an acid trip and then wanders around the city.
Well, and
It's quite bizarre, but it's really entertaining. Actually, it's one of those
they
kind of drive-in movies that's kind of fun.
the history of Peter Fonda and his sister Jane Fonda are very interesting, simply because Henry Fonda, who was in
So much.
so much. Like, I know if I say them, like I usually flippantly, obviously, Peter Fonda best remembered from Easy Rider,
Oh
but
yeah,
Henry
love that
Fonda,
film.
like I would say, what, like The Longest Day? Like, what is Peter? Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh,
There's
that's a great film. Oh, that's a great film.
like there are so, and those are only two, but I can remember on Golden Pond, I believe, was his final film. Like, the man was
Yeah, I think so.
literally golden Hollywood royalty.
That was
Now,
a great film too.
absolutely nothing to do with this though.
Mm.
His kid, Peter Fonda, much more of a counterculture individual. It's sort of part of the reason why he gained popularity through Easy Rider, was very much a counterculture motorcycle movie from the late 1960s, and distanced himself very much from his dad. Jane Fonda, I can tell you right now, my dad still dislikes her based on her involvement within the Vietnam conflict.
The politics, yeah.
How do you remember all
Exactly.
this stuff about the Fonda family? Did you
I-
read a biography?
Jill, this
Well,
is just the kind of stuff that I have in the Rolodex in the back of my head.
and we kind of
It's
lived through it
incredible.
too, right, Jill? Like, I remember. I just
Oh,
want to
okay. Yeah,
mention,
no, I
if I
didn't.
if I may mention a couple movies. I'm just looking at Peter
Yeah.
Fonda's filmography here, and wow, he made some really cool films. Like, did you ever hear of the 1975 film Race with the Devil?
No.
Oh, it's very scary. It's a good one. It's basically Peter Fonda and his family are like in an RV and they're traveling, and they sort of come across this cult that ends up chasing them. It's really scary.
Nice.
I highly
And then there
recommend
was
that one.
and then there was like Crazy Mary, Dirty Larry,
Yes,
I
I was just
think.
going to mention that one too. That was the year before in 1974. That is an awesome film. It's a great chase film, basically.
And yeah, like again, it's sort of in the same vein as the original, but just taken down. Like, if Richard Benjamin was a B-level actor in the 70s, or at least a celebrity of some renown, then both Peter Fonda and Blythe Danner were in that same sphere 2 years later, but just taken down a notch. Maybe? Is that too harsh?
Peter
I
was
don't
a
know.
good
Tell me, chat.
Peter was a good actor, though. I enjoyed his films quite a bit. Like Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry was an amazing film, and it was just a simple story of
Mm.
people on the run from the law. But man, it was well done. And I won't spoil it, but the ending, you got to watch the film to believe that ending. That's
Absolutely.
all I'll say. But yeah, and there's another one I think he did later in his life. I think it was after. Yeah, 1999. He did a film called The Limey
Oh, yes, with General Zod.
with Terrence Stamp, and Terrence Stamp is amazing in that film. He's scary as hell. It's a really good film. That's another one I highly, highly recommend seeing.
Well, and one that I moderately recommend seeing is Futureworld.
Well, let's
Yeah,
get back to
Future
that.
World.
Yeah, maybe we
Sure.
should talk
Oh,
about that.
but
Sure.
I just wanted to say a few things from the chat. Cardinal
yes.
Sin references the HBO show. They should have canceled Westworld a long time ago. It finally got canceled just recently.
Yeah.
Even though nobody watched past season 1 that I know of.
Season one was actually really good. I got the DVD set for like $1 at a library sale, and I watched it and was like, hey, this is really great. And then I watched the very first episode of season 2.
And this is really
They,
terrible.
and I thought, like, what the hell is this?
It wasn't even
So
the
I
same
was-
show.
Yeah, exactly. I was done at that point. Yeah.
And Claude, thank you so much for all the recommendations and all of the knowledge in the chat. Blythe Danner, like, if you can just start shooting out some television appearances of Blythe Danner, where do I know her from? And don't say The Love Boat.
The Blythe Danner was all over TV in the 70s, says Claude.
Apparently. I don't know. Was she in Space 1999?
Blythe is quite a name too. I don't think I've ever heard anybody else called Blythe.
It's Blythe.
And Cardinal Sin says Peter
No,
Fonda
I
was
just want to be specific. Data is not Data's name. Is all.
right.
Oh, I remember that. Peter Fonda as the devil. Yeah, that was good too.
Peter Fonda was the best part of Ghost Rider when he played the devil.
Actually, Ghost Rider wasn't a bad film, I thought. I mean, it wasn't great, but I thought it was decent.
I've never seen it. Surprise.
Well, there's a rider, and he's a ghost.
I love the comic book though. Back in the 70s, that was a great.
No, the only thing I've seen is Ghost Writer, which was a PBS TV show about a crime-solving pen or something. I forget.
No,
actually.
very different than a guy that rides a motorcycle with a flaming skull. Very, very different.
Oh, right. Anonymous is in the chat, and hello, and she
Hi,
played
Anonymous.
in Paul. Yeah, I forgot that she was in Paul.
So she's still going then? Wow.
I think so.
That's a long career.
Absolutely. Well, can you expect anything less from the woman who co-starred in Futureworld? So Blythe Danner plays a big-time network anchor. She has a program, and she's going to go to this big meeting that is all of Delos, and they are going to relaunch the Delos theme park. Westworld is not on the menu. Futureworld, Roman World, Medieval World. That's what you get.
Is there any explanation of why they killed the Westworld part off, Scotty?
Because
yes.
Yul Brynner?
Would you like to hear the casualty report?
Oh, so it was the by far the worst. I take it then. Okay. That kind of
Yeah.
makes sense then. Okay.
So apparently, 49 of the guests were killed. 95,
and because the disease came from Westworld.
And 95.
Oh, yes.
They were slaughtering people in Roman World. Come on.
That's right. I agree. So I'm trying to figure out why they only killed Westworld.
I would like
the rest.
World too.
Remember we were talking about Westworld and how it was a good movie?
Yes.
Can we just drop our expectations just a little here? It's not as good. It's not as good. It's not as well laid out. And
so
it's not.
What you're saying is do not apply any logic whatsoever for Futureworld.
Like all the stuff that you liked about Westworld, Jill, Futureworld
does
not have them.
And that's funny because you think Futureworld's going to have it because of its name.
And you're thinking, Michael, please come back. Please come back and write a good script.
Well, no, essentially, okay. So the reason for the conceit of Futureworld is that they need a new world, and they want to simulate launching into orbit, getting onto a space station. You can go walk the surface of the moon, or you can go skiing on Mars.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Reminds me of
skiing on Mars. That's
Total
weird.
Recall.
Kind of, yeah. Hey, Carol.
Yeah, hello, Carol.
Though, wouldn't you?
Sorry,
Carol.
You'd have to be in a spacesuit, though, wouldn't you, to do a lot of?
Well, not if it's pretend.
No. But they do it.
Walk on the moon without a spacesuit.
No, they do it. No, okay. So, and I'm just going to skip all over the place, and I'll answer all questions as they are presented. There is a shot where they show 4 people in spacesuits skiing, like for real. But it's just a red filter over the camera, so everything is red.
That sounds very strange.
No, it's just cheap special effects. I don't even know what the budget is.
That sounds boring.
I don't know.
Just Carol says, hello, ladies, and the legend that is Jill. And hello, just Carol, the Force.
Hey, Carol.
And Canadian Spider-Man says, yeah, it's just below freezing here. And the second Ghost Rider movie was awful.
I never saw that one, thank goodness. The first one was decent, though.
I think I walked out of the second one.
Okay, so you're saying they put on spacesuits, but they went skiing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would ski in a spacesuit.
Okay, hang on. Okay, science doesn't make sense in this movie. Okay,
Oh, there's no logic. Right.
There's no
Got it.
logic.
I remember now.
I don't know. I don't want to shut down everything that you guys say and just be like, this is a stupid
I
movie.
would think you could only go ice skating on Europa.
Oh,
Wow.
That would be a cool scene. Wow. Boy,
But if
that's a
2001 taught me anything, you're not allowed to go to Europa.
It's a hell of an idea, Jill. That's pretty awesome.
Or is it Europa you're allowed to go to?
Well, I'm
and
just
Io
trying
you
to
cannot
make
have?
sense of what Scotty is explaining to me as a scene from Futureworld, and it doesn't make any sense.
So anyway, just imagine spacemen, like astronauts in like 1980s, like spacesuits. Okay,
Okay, I can do
they
that.
are on skis
That's the part where
and they are skiing.
I have to I have to just get rid of my disbelief at that point.
It's just what you do.
I was waiting for the end of that sentence, but it never came.
Well, no, I know, because that's all that is all they show. That is
Skiing on what?
skis.
Okay, forget it.
No, like on snow. They show the snow.
Okay, but where? What? Okay, but on Earth, they're in spacesuits on Earth skiing.
No, they're in. Well, okay, for the purposes of making the movie,
Yeah,
they're on Earth in spacesuits, on skis, on mountain. But like for the purposes of the movie, because they put a red filter over the camera, it's Mars now.
Oh, it's Mars. Okay, see, I asked what planet. Okay, Mars. I get it. That's what the red filter is for. Yeah,
Yes.
I get it. Thank you.
I apologize.
But there's no snow on Mars.
They didn't know that in 1975.
Mars. But I guess it's Futureworld, so it's all fake anyway, right?
That's fair.
No, it's not. It's ridiculous and hilarious to watch.
Sounds kind of like a equivalent of a Spock's brain type of experience.
And by the way, if you're looking at doing a double feature of Futureworld and Westworld, I recommend starting with Futureworld.
Because it's bad and then it gets good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it gets better. Don't worry, everybody. Yul Brynner will show up for one scene.
Okay.
Don't you think though, if you start with Futureworld, you'll probably lose 90% of your audience by the time you get to the good film?
Not if you bought the DVDs, my friend. You are roped into watching that. Well, I paid money for this.
I got to watch this film now. It sounds so bloody awful.
So, do you have anything else from this movie that we absolutely have to know about? Because
well, no, I want to get to a certain point. Like there is a certain point, and then it's just action, which is basically a chase scene, and then at the end they get away. But
I'm gonna just take a break for a minute, guys. But I'll be back very shortly.
Thank you.
I'm gonna test my on/off button too.
Okay, great.
Oh, don't do it. Yul Brynner will come and shoot you. Uh-oh. I hope he comes back.
I'm sure he's okay.
Oh, and Claude, absolutely. Young Mr. Lincoln for Henry Fonda.
There's no way the robots will malfunction again.
Well, no, but this is the thing. Okay, so basically, Peter Fonda and Blythe Danner, they're both reporters. Peter Fonda is a newspaper reporter, but nobody reads newspapers anymore. Very prophetic for 1975.
Okay, so it did one thing.
It did one thing. It did do one thing. And Blythe Danner is the television reporter. They are on the Council of Delos because they don't want anything to happen this time. They want full access to the park so that nothing bad can happen. Everyone should know, complete transparency. There have been world leaders invited. We have made this the safest possible situation. Remember what we did last time? It's not going to do that again.
It's not going to happen again. We promise. Everything's fine.
So through the course of the movie, it is discovered that there is a nefarious plot to kidnap and replace prominent social figures with robots.
Okay, so that's what this movie is about. And then the world leaders rise as robots rise up against.
No.
And then start another rampage.
None of that.
No. Okay.
Nope. It's two spunky reporters who go infiltrate the Delos amusement park And to make sure it's safe, one's a rebel, one's looking for ratings. They get together and they solve the crime Nancy Drew style. And yeah,
Nancy Drew style, meaning they talk to everybody and they figure out.
They talk to everybody, they get into scrapes, but then they get out of them with no consequences. Then you find out what's going on. Again, I mentioned that there was going to be a duplication process with the world
robots
leaders.
And world leaders, yes.
Right, and social people. And so, well, we have like one of the most popular news reporters, right? We are certainly going to have to take her. And then you find out certain people are robots. And then you find out that nearly everyone's a robot. Delos is run by robots.
Well, then, you know what, though? You know what? You know, as silly as that sounds, it kind of plays off of the point in Westworld where they said that the robots are creating, the machines are creating the machines. And so in this case, that's what happened. And they started replacing themselves and replacing the humans that they've murdered from Westworld with, you know, everybody in the control room had to be recreated as robots. So the robots created control room robots. I'm probably making it more this movie more than it.
Having everything run by robots instead of a real staff, you'd save a hell of a lot of money on paying people too, right?
I don't know if you saw Westworld. Robots, they mess up.
They have central malfunctions.
But I assume by this time they would have corrected those flaws. So
you'd think.
And hey, you know,
no, it's only been
face it,
2
they're
years.
probably greedy anyway, so they figure fire the staff and just hire, you know, just replace them with robots.
Well, and there's a lovely worker, because apparently in this movie, water is their kryptonite. If you get them wet, they all freak out, but they never get wet, so don't worry about it. Except for one guy, because it's plot convenient. But there is a workman, because they only have a handful of workmen who can deal with the again, humidity and liquid and the water. So if there's something wrong with the fountain in Roman world, you send a human, because robots can't do it.
Ah, okay, makes sense. You got to have some real tech staff on duty, I guess.
And is that the movie?
Oh, and well, without giving away the ending, but like I said, they get away.
You don't have to. Yeah. Okay, great. That's perfect timing, because I have got to end the live stream in a couple minutes.
Okay,
so
well then
I wanted to thank.
Oh, wow.
What did you want to say?
I wanted to say, let's see, is there anything else going on in the chat? I appreciate everything that Claude is doing, and don't tell me about Escape from LA. I know.
Yes, he said Richard Benjamin directed the Peter O'Toole film, My Favorite Year, a great movie, worth your time.
I've heard of it with great renown.
Oh, that is a great movie. It's hilarious.
I'll have to check it out.
Peter O'Toole, it must be probably his finest comedic performance. He's just perfection in that movie. It is incredibly hilarious.
Yes, and I just wanted to give you a chance, Scotty, to talk about your channel before we head out.
On the Phantasmagorium show, we are going to be looking at the Mexico trilogy, El Mariachi trilogy from Robert Rodriguez on Wednesday. Mariachi. My pronunciation sometimes becomes a bit lazy. Mariachi. And so El Mariachi trilogy, and we're going to be doing that on Wednesday. And then after that, as I mentioned, we're going to be delving into the world of Batman and celebrating Kevin Conroy. Oh no, clearly
your phone's going crazy.
I can hear that.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, and then next week we're talking about Quantum Leap with Jill. Thank you. Subscribe, like, share this channel. Worry about mine later.
Yeah, no, but your channel's great too. I really like it, and more people need to be watching it. I don't understand. So,
thank you.
Also, thank you so much, Claude, for being here and being so knowledgeable, as we said before in the chat, and helping us out with little things that we need to know. And also, thank you, Phantom Boomer.
Absolutely.
He says my favorite year is terrific.
Then I'll put it on the list.
More support for watching that movie.
My favorite year is great because it's set during the 1950s in the sort of the early TV era. And I won't give spoilers, but that's kind of where the storyline winds its way through. And it's quite a brilliant film, really.
Cool,
Well,
cool,
that's
cool.
great. Thank you. Also, thank you to Edge of Time for being here and all your comments. Just Carol, Oiler Greg,
Tiger
and
Stripes, Mr.
Cardinal Sin,
Brown, Dalek,
Anonymous, Danny Pearson,
Captain Finity,
Canadian Spider-Man, and
my
JD
mom.
Lewis, and probably my mom too. Hi, Mom.
Hey,
Matt
Mom.
G.
Oh, just an interesting fact. I just looked up my favorite year, and guess who directed it? You won't believe this.
Richard Benjamin?
Yeah, you nailed it.
No, it wasn't
Yeah,
me.
no,
think
it was directed by Richard Benjamin.
No, but it wasn't me. I think it was Claude or someone. I think it was
Oh,
Claude in the
somebody.
chat who said.
I think it
Okay,
was
somebody
Claude
very
too.
knowledgeable. Yeah.
Teddy, Matt G, again, your sanitizer, Oiler Greg,
Yeah, it was Claude. I don't know why I checked. Of course it was Claude. Who knew?
Donnie Pearson, Phantom
And-
Boomer, Dropper Clapper,
and Mr. Brown Alliance. And Matt G
yeah.
again, just because he's a really amazing wrench. I'm so lucky to have him hanging around.
NB Geeks,
NB Geeks Bar and Grill.
Boy, lots in the chat today. Wow.
so
Yeah.
many. Cam
and Cam was here. Yeah, Cam was lovely. And always wonderful to see him. And the great thing about my chat is that the people that are here are great chatters, so I get to see a lot of, and so it takes a little while to see a new name. And also thanks to the Basco scenario.
Yes, and Mega Cropper.
And Scogly.
Heavens.
And Pop Culture Curator is listening on the road, and Herc 130.
Tim the Enchanter.
And Gorilla's Random Thoughts was at work. And there we go. I made it, I think. And if I missed anybody, sorry about that. And also thank you to all the lurkers and anybody watching on the replay. I hope you enjoyed this little review about Westworld and my reactions for seeing this movie for the first time. Anytime I see something that's genuinely science fiction that isn't just, just saying, oh, look, here's a thing we're doing that has robots, enjoy it. Like, no, this is actually gets into what it would, the actual manifestations of what happens when you create something that that can become a reflection upon what kind of morals that you put out there. If you create something that you want to, just for people to murder and commit crimes against, don't be surprised when that thing starts doing it back to you. And so that's super cool science fiction to me.
What's even scarier, though, is when you think they're actually working on real AI now. And I've seen robots online that are really terrifying. Like, they are kind of Terminator-like, some of the ones I've seen on videos. And
yeah, absolutely. And so when
like,
science fiction becomes reality, that is definitely a thing that we got to watch out for. And,
well, yeah.
But also, I mean, I like hopefulness in my science fiction too, but when it has something to say about reality, I pay attention to that as well. And so I hope everybody, you have a fun and wonderful Friday. Rest in peace to
Gallagher and Kevin Conroy.
Gallagher and Kevin Conroy, the animated series Batman, among other wonderful things he's done.
Happy birthday to Me Moore.
And happy Veterans Day.
And Remembrance Day here.
Lest we forget.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody have a great Friday. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah. We'll
Bye.
Talk later, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Get him a bib.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to one of your original questions. What was so good about what did Star Trek do right? And Andrea Kindred was, I think, the executive assistant to Gene Kuhn on the original show. And I recently got to interview her, and she said something that I think was so important. Someone asked her, what was the best thing about Star Trek? And she said, it was entertaining. So it allowed a huge number of people in to listen to new ideas and concepts. I wish some shows remembered the entertaining part. Yeah. You do need to welcome people in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.